What's up, everybody? Today marks exactly 1 month since we put seed down on our Blackout turf type tall fescue overseed. Today I'm going to show you those results. I'll give you some close-ups of how everything is looking, and we're also going to put down some fertilizer to give this thing some food to really darken up and green up. I'll also give you an update on the front lawn. We'll get a mow in. We'll also give you an update on the ants and the situation with that. And I'll also give you my process on how I get rid of moles in my lawn. We have some moles making their way back in. I mean, it just always happens with this field back here. So I'll show you what I use for traps and how I go about getting rid of them out of the lawn. So we have plenty to do today. Let's get into it. So here are our overseed results. Everything is looking awesome right now. Now, if there is one thing I could complain about, it is the color. This thing is starving for nitrogen right now. I put down one application of fertilizer since we overseeded, and that's definitely not enough. The application we put down was a 3-3-3. It was very minimum amount of nitrogen. And then 2 days later, we had a storm pop up, which absolutely washed away all of our nitrogen. So this baby grass is starving. I can just tell by looking at the color of how like limey it kind of is. Now, Blackout naturally has a very dark color, but you gotta remember this is baby grass. You gotta give it some time. So we definitely need to feed it. Like, look at, you can see where Emmett peed right here and how much darker that is than the rest of the lawn. That is a sign that we are behind on nitrogen for sure. I mean, I can see other spots that are darker where he went to the bathroom and it's like just night and day. So we definitely need to get some nitrogen down on this stuff to help it grow, help it thicken up, and give it that green color we're looking for. Here's a close-up of our Blackout. This is mostly Blackout in this area. And we're getting some disease pressure on the Kentucky bluegrass in here. Yeah, you can see that it's like all the Kentucky bluegrass is brown in there, kind of dying off. But the turf type tall fescue is looking good. It's actually starting to thicken up a little bit. These blades are getting a little thicker. And man, this whole area was pure dirt at one point. And now it's just looking great. I am so happy with how this overseed came in. Now we just need to help it darken up by giving it some nitrogen. This baby grass just can't do it by itself with absolutely nothing. This was the area that had those washouts. And you can see it's actually coming in pretty good. Even this area was super bare. It is pretty bare still, but let's give it a few shots of nitrogen and kind of reevaluate after that. Yeah, this stuff is just starving for nitrogen right now. It's had basically none since I put the seed down. So once we give it a little bit of food, this color is gonna absolutely pop. So what I recommend is putting down about 0.25 to 0.5 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet every 2 to 3 weeks for this baby grass. And that should be plenty to get it going for the rest of the season, darken it up, and ready for spring next year. So some people ask me, can I do the nitrogen blitz on baby grass? I would say it doesn't need that much nitrogen. I mean, I don't think you're gonna hurt anything by doing it, but I think it's a little overkill for the baby grass, and your established grass might outcompete it. So I kind of stay away from doing a full nitrogen blitz on brand new overseeds or baby grass. I kind of do like a half nitrogen blitz, if that makes sense. I definitely want to feed it nitrogen, just not as much as you would with the blitz. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put down 0.5 pounds of nitrogen from ammonium sulfate. I wanna get that really dark green back here and see what this Blackout can really do now that it's been established for exactly 1 month since we put seed down. So we are going to measure out our ammonium sulfate, which you can find at feed stores or co-ops. Usually you can find ammonium sulfate or urea around you for pretty cheap. That's what we're gonna do back here, and I'll show you exactly how to calculate that. Now there's a couple reasons why I'm using ammonium sulfate instead of urea. Urea and ammonium sulfate both are fast release fertilizers, so that's why they're the go-to usually, and they're the cheapest fertilizer you can basically buy. The difference between ammonium sulfate and urea is a lot stronger. It is a 4600, while this is only a 2100, which means urea has over double the amount of nitrogen in one bag compared to the ammonium sulfate. The nice thing about ammonium sulfate though is that, in my opinion, it has a nicer green up. It has like a dark forest green compared to urea, which is just, I mean, it greens your grass up, it turns it dark, but this stuff just is on a different level, I feel like. Also, it's easier to spread this over big areas because there's more of it going down, which means you can have more even coverage. With urea, it looks like you're barely putting out anything, and you're only getting fertilizer put down in those little tiny spots here and there when this covers your grass more. So that's why we're gonna go with the ammonium sulfate today. Definitely has a darker green up in my opinion, and that's why we're gonna go with it in my backyard. Now, I told you earlier I'm gonna put down 0.5 pounds of nitrogen. I lied. I'm actually gonna put down 0.63 pounds. And the reason I'm doing that is because it makes the math easy. The easy way to look at this is it's a 2100, which means there's 21% nitrogen in each pound you're putting down. So if you want to get close to 0.5, just times this by 3, and that's 0.63, which means you put down 3 pounds per 1,000. I have 4,000 square feet back here, so I'm going to put down 3 times 4. I'm going to put down 12 pounds, call it a day. Make the math very simple. So I'm just going to put it in this hand spreader. I'm not going to be able to fit all 12 pounds in this hand spreader, so I'm going to have to spread it out over 2 applications. I'll just put the hand spreader on a very low setting, spread like, I'd probably split it 6 and 6, so I'll put 6 pounds in here. Spread that 6 pounds evenly, come back, put another 6 pounds, spread it evenly across the lawn, and we're good to go. Now this stuff does need to be watered in after you put it down. So if you don't have irrigation, you're gonna wanna put it down right before it rains. If you do have irrigation, you're gonna wanna water it in right away. So I'm gonna put down 12 pounds of this over the 4,000 square feet. Now, if you guys are very particular with your rates and you wanna put down exactly 0.5 pounds of nitrogen, it's very easy to calculate that. Also, all you do is do 0.5, because that's how much nitrogen you want to put down, divided by 0.21, because that's how much nitrogen's in the bag, and that's going to give you 2.38, which means you need to put down 2.38 pounds per 1,000 square feet to get that 0.5 pounds of nitrogen. I just like making the math easy, times it by 3, call it good. All right, we just put down the first 6 pounds with this hand spreader, and I had it on setting number 3, and I think that was a little too heavy, so next time I'm gonna go on setting number 2, just in case any of you have the same Scott's hand spreader. Number 3 is a little too heavy, I think. We're gonna do number 2 for the second 6 pounds. So it's been 3 days since we put down that ammonium sulfate, and this stuff is already darkening up. I know it's gonna get a lot darker than this even, but I wanted to show you guys before I drop the video, the color difference. It looks better when you're looking back this way. But yeah, that is seriously darkened up a lot. I'm pumped. I mean, this stuff was absolutely starving. You should definitely give it nitrogen before I did. The stuff was not even close to its potential with not feeding it anything. I mean, baby grass needs food to actually establish and grow. So that was a mistake on my part. Here's that pea spot before, and you can already see that it's darker around it. It's not quite as dark as the pea spot, but it's catching up now. So very happy with the results of this ammonium sulfate. You guys, this thing's a workhorse. I love it. Never have to mow back here again. And it actually has a decently clean cut. It actually cuts better than my manual reel mower, believe it or not. It looks a lot more even across everything. And that's the beauty with this robot mower, man. You can do the nitrogen blitz. You can feed this, just pound this with nitrogen, and you don't have to worry about mowing because this thing will just mow every single day. So it's beautiful, love it. But yeah, pumped with the color. The color is now looking more like a blackout grass seed should look. This in this area is blackout perennial ryegrass. So that's why it looks crazy dark right there. We planted that last year during our pre-germination video. So some of it got tore out when I dethatched and things like that. So it's gonna look like a splotchy mess with tall fescue mixed in with ryegrass. Look how crazy dark that is. That is just amazing. It's like blue. Like, look at how yellow green that is. And this, woo. So yeah, I just wanted to give you day 3 fertilizer results. It will get darker than this. So stay tuned to the next video. You'll see that I'll show some before and afters of even this color too, what it's gonna look like. I cannot wait. Now, when it comes to the front lawn, it's kind of been neglected. I've been putting so much effort in the back, I kind of just forget about up here a little bit. So right now, let's take a look. It is crazy long. I need to mow more often. I'm only mowing like once every 4 to 5 days right now. And when you're cutting your lawn short, I mean, you just can't do that. It's gonna stress it out. Like, let's take a look at how long this actually is. So we're hitting 2 inches. I don't know how well you can see that, but we're definitely at the 2-inch mark. That's not good. So I'm probably gonna cut down to 1 inch today, which, I mean, you're taking off half the leaf blade. It's gonna stress it out. Also, this thing needs some fertilizer. I only put down 0.2 pounds of fert before my vacation, which was exactly a month ago. So I did the last fertilizer application the same day I put seed down. That was a foliar application. And we ended up stressing the grass out because we put down PGR and it ended up bronzing it. So I don't even know how much of that nitrogen it actually used. I can tell. I mean, it looks dark compared to my neighbors just because it's naturally dark. And you'll see for sure after this mow how dark it really is. But I can tell with my own eyes, this stuff is not as dark as it should be at this time of the year. At this time of the year, this lawn should be banging right now. I'm talking like deep forest green. So I'm gonna give it a shot of fertilizer. I think I'm gonna give it some Earthworks plus a foliar application and see what that does. So let's get a mow in here. I know it's gonna pop after I mow, but let's get a mow in and go from there.
I'm walking down the street on clouds instead of the concrete I'm dancing through. Everything's about to come my way. Nothing can ruin my day, no matter what anyone does or say. I smile at fools. No, I don't care, cause I am on my way up. And I won't stop, I won't slow down. Steady on my feet, I'm gonna rise up. No, I won't stop, it is my time. Cause I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like when nothing goes your way. So I'm gonna let myself enjoy the fruit from this lucky day. Yeah, I am on my way up. I won't slow down. Yeah, I am on my way up. I won't slow down.
So the front looks good, I would say. It's not spectacular. It's definitely not our last mow. Our last mow was unbelievable. So you can see the neighbors' yards in the back. I mean, we're doing just fine. It's just missing that pop. Definitely missing the pop. But we're still doing okay. Need to give it a little more attention. For all you diehards that have been here for a while, I remember I was talking about how I had some rust here and how it was gonna die off, and it definitely did. When you have shortcut grass, the rust just kind of overtakes it and it definitely dies off. I mean, yeah, that's pretty rough. That's all, there's some green in there, but that brown, that's all dead, man. But the beauty of Kentucky bluegrass, it will fill back in, and it's definitely go time for the nitrogen blitz in my area right now. So The front lawn can definitely use the nitrogen blitz right now. For those of you that don't know what a nitrogen blitz is, I'll leave a video up here. You guys can click on that. Basically, it's just to really pound your lawn with fertilizer during the fall months, and it'll thicken up, spread, get really dark. It's an amazing thing for your lawn once it comes out of the spring. It's just like crazy green compared to all your neighbors. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit it with the Earthworks product first. And man, I'm really hesitant to put on ammonium sulfate out here on the granular just because, man, it just looks so splotchy. You get all those little dots everywhere when your grass is this short. It makes things so much easier because all you have to do is put down the granular, water it, you're done. But it looks like kind of ass at first when your grass is this short because, like I said, you just get those granules bouncing all over the place, and it's like you get all these little dark spots, and you got to keep putting it on over and over and over for it to eventually go away. What I need is some greens grade ammonium sulfate. For sure, we're putting down Earthworks. We'll see what I do, if I put down a liquid or if I just do the ammonium sulfate. I'm still deciding. So for the backyard, I have this pee area. This is where Emmett pees. He's a 10-year-old dog. I'm not going to retrain him to pee somewhere else at this point in his life. He's always had the backyard to himself. So, I mean, it's going to look ugly here in a month or two. So he definitely pees back here. But what I wanted to say is next to these pee spots, right here, this has a ton of nitrogen, and I can see all the tall fescue that is now mature because of all that nitrogen. Compared to the rest of the lawn, this is what it's going to look like when it's done. And that stuff is pretty dang dark compared to, let's just say, the rest. I mean, that's what you're looking at throughout the whole lawn once we start this nitrogen process back here consistently. So this is going to look crazy good. But yeah, for being that young of grass, look at that. That's all blackout mixed in with my Kentucky bluegrass. Looking good, looking good. I'm happy with that. So I'm excited for this fertilizer to kick in. It definitely needs it. I have waited way too long to put it down. So after thinking about it, I think I'm gonna get a little crazy with this stuff. So usually when I put down this Earthworks product, I've been putting down one bag over 6,000 square feet, and that comes out to about 0.33 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. So it's not a tiny bit, it's not a lot by any means. I think 0.5 would be a happy medium if you're to put this stuff down and get a really good response. I mean, I got a good response at 0.33, but 0.5 is probably like the money spot. I'm gonna try putting down this stuff at around like 1 pound per 1,000, which I'm a little scared because I don't want to burn my lawn, but I want to do something a little different. This stuff has a very small prill size, so I can put down a large amount of nitrogen and spread it evenly across my shortcut lawn and won't get those splotchy areas. So that's what made me want to do it. So I'm going to put down a decent amount of nitrogen, like I said, about 1 pound per 1,000 square feet over here, water it in good, and see what kind of response we get. I'm thinking this is going to like explode. It's going to be crazy dark green. This stuff makes the microbes go crazy, and it has ammonium sulfate in it also. So I'm really pumped actually to put this down at a heavy rate and see what happens. I'm gonna put down about 40 pounds over 3,500 square feet. So it comes out to about 0.9. So we should get a very good response with this stuff. So let's see what we can do with it. Now, if you guys do this, are gonna do the same thing I am doing, make sure you know exactly your calculations, because I don't want people hit me up saying, I did the same thing and now my whole lawn's burned. Make sure you know how many square feet and how many pounds of nitrogen you're putting down per 1,000. Just totally ruining all the stripes. This stupid spreader. Now I'm gonna go the opposite way and really screw them up. So that's a lot of Earthworks product to be putting down at one time. 1 pound of nitrogen is not recommended on the bag by any means. we're just gonna experiment a little bit since it is gearing up to be fall. So the owner of Earthworks actually sent me a photo of a golf course that they put Earthworks A22 on the fairway and the tee box. And it's in the middle of winter. And if you look at this picture, it's like pure green where they put the Earthworks down, and everywhere in the rough where they didn't is like yellow and it went into dormancy. What he explained to me is all the microbial activity in those areas kept the grass green and kept it warmer during those colder months, kept the soil warmer. So that's how he explained it to me. Not that I'm excited about winter coming, but I'm interested in how it's gonna do during the winter and how it bounces back in the spring. So that's one of the other reasons I wanna put a heavy rate on there. I wanna get as much of this stuff down in the soil as I can before winter. All right, you guys, random tip of the day. And this might be one of the most important random tips I ever give you. If you ever see this in your lawn when your grass is not seeding, that is definitely a POA plant right here. Now, I just randomly saw this when I was mowing and I knew I was gonna come back and get it. What you're going to want to do, you can tell by the seed heads. Look at that, that is a POA plant. That is no bueno. You do not want that spreading. Oh, I can see some dead seeds over here too. Oh no. Okay, this is a big plant. So what you're gonna wanna do, grab a flathead screwdriver and start lifting up all around this plant. Stick it in, lift up, stick it in, lift up. And when you start going around the whole thing, eventually this whole plant's gonna pop out of here. Grab this thing, come on. And there might be more than one in here. See, I missed some of it. There's still seed heads right here. But you can see, got a lot of it, but there's still seed heads connected to the soil. You want all of this out of here. There's more right here. Get the hell out. Look at the night crawler. Randomly. Yeah, here, dude. Yeah, this thing, this might be Triv. I think it's definitely Triv because it is spreading laterally on the ground. But basically you want all that out of there because it will spread and it will get worse. Man, there's a lot of seed heads in here. But I took out most of it, it looks like. The plant might still be there. Usually I get it out way better than that. Oh, there's some. But if you see that stuff in your lawn, cut it out right away. Every time I see a seed head like that, I go over there and I pick that thing out of there. That way we do not have issues later on. So yes, that looks like crap right now, but I'm telling you, it's better than this whole entire area turning bright yellow because it's a big POA patch. Get rid of it right away. So here's what I decided to do. I'm actually going to throw down a smaller amount on this side and see if we can see a difference between the two. So there's about like 12 to 15-ish pounds left in this bag here. What I'm gonna do is just cover it on this side, which is gonna equal out to about 0.4 to 0.5 pounds of nitrogen. So it's gonna be about half of what we put down over on this side. And we'll see if we can see a difference between the two sides after everything's said and done. Who knows, it might be the same color almost. You can't really tell a difference. And that means this product doesn't need to be put down as heavy, which stretches your dollar out a little bit. So if you're gonna be going with this Earthworks product, this is gonna be a cool experiment to see which side performs better and see if there's any difference. All right, sorry if the audio sounds different. I'm just sick of it stretching out my shirts and dangling there. So on the hat it goes. Now, some of you are gonna ask, why aren't you using fast release fertilizer? Why aren't you using ammonium sulfate or urea? Putting down all this when you said it's time for the fall nitrogen blitz. And really, the answer is I want to try something different, to be honest. I know urea works. I know ammonium sulfate works. I know it's the best bang for your buck, but I just want to compare what this does long-term for your soil, and I want to compare what it does in the short term also. Does it have a different type of green up? Does it last longer? I'm not sure. So experimenting with rates, experimenting with different kinds of fertilizers, just to see what works best for me. And that way I'm actually doing the dirty work for you guys. All right, you guys, so I said I would show you what I use for mole traps. Now we are in between my main lawn and my back lawn right now on the hill. And of course, these moles are back. This is way too close to the front yard for comfort. Usually they stay in the back, so we gotta take care of this right away. You can see all the damage they've already done. You can see the tunnels moving up here, all the way up to almost to the front, but this tunnel comes right across here too. So I'll show you a couple different traps that I use and how I go about doing it. All right, so the main one I use is this Victor out of sight mole trap. Basically, this is a kind of the same version, except it's a cheaper version. This is already set and it's harder to set it, so I'm gonna keep it set. I'll show you how to do it on this one. Basically how these things work, you push these together and it opens up this clamp, and there's this metal bar here that you stick into the trigger. There's a little hole, or on the Victor out of sight one, there's like a little lip. I don't know. You just stick it in that hole or lip, and it is set. Now you want the mole to run through the middle of this thing, and when they run through the middle, it'll set this up and it'll clamp on them. And that's how that works. So it's basically just crushes him once he goes through. So what you need to do is you need to find where the tunnel's running, open up the tunnel, put this in it that goes the same way with the tunnel. Whoops, went off. That goes the same way with the tunnel. So I can see the tunnel's going like this right here on this one. That's a pretty straight line. So, or like, what's this? And yeah, you can really dig in there and feel exactly where the tunnel is going. So, yeah, I might put it right here. Now you need to rip up the grass a little bit to do this. So I can feel the hole on that side, I can feel the hole on this side, and the mole should just go right down this hole. So I'm going to, again, set this and stick it right in that tunnel. Now you want to have this wide enough that this has enough room to close. There you go. That should be good right there. And if this is open, when you come back, you know it's been set off. Now what I like to do is I just like to make a hole on each side, because moles do not like air coming through their tunnels or light coming in their tunnels. So I like to cover up this so there's not this giant hole, but I put a little hole on this side and I put a little hole on this side so they can feel that air in the tunnel or hear sound, whatever it is. They do not like it. They like to fill it back up. So they'll come back to this spot, hopefully fill this tunnel up, and when they come through, we'll snap them. Now this does not have a very high success rate when it comes to actually killing. I would say maybe 20% you'll actually get them. I do have a trap called a gopher hawk. If you can get them in there and in it to go off, you have like a 90% kill rate, but my band is all screwed up on it. I had to buy a new band for my gopher hawk. So that kind of stinks. I'll also put this one over here. So this one has a tunnel running up. I think I'm just gonna put it right in the middle of it. Crappy thing is you gotta tear up your grass to use these stinking traps. Make a little hole. Make a little hole on this side. All right, so we got two of these set up. Hopefully we can get it, because this is a very active area. I crushed all this down yesterday and it was back in no time. Another trap, this is more of a gopher trap, but you can get moles on it as well. The only problem with this is you have to know which way the mole's coming from. So you put this swinging arm here. There's a lip that you want to put. This lip get caught underneath here. And then this thing in the back goes underneath these two bars right here. And then that opens this up so when they run through here and hit this, it clamps shut like that. Usually you put this in the main hole of a gopher hole because there's only one way in and out of that thing. So this doesn't work as good for mole tunnels, but if you get lucky and he does come through this way, you can get him. So I'm just gonna put this in the same tunnel. I'm gonna guess he's gonna come this way. So I'm gonna face it the opposite way. So he goes and he hits this. Ah, man. Again, you gotta tear up your grass to get this thing in there. So there we go. And I'll make a little spot. We'll come back and see if we can get this thing. So it's been about 18 hours since we put down these traps, and it looks like we have some good news. So this trap right here has actually been set off. This one has not. And we had that other one right here. So if the mole was coming this way, it would have hit this trap. So it didn't come in this way. It looks like it came in from the fence line over here, made its way up and went up first and got snapped. I don't see any tunnels above it or around it, so that is a really good sign. So I'm hoping he is in there. Either one of two things happened. Either he's in there dead right now, or it got snapped and it spooked him and he went back and ran away. So let's see if he is in here. Come on. Yeah, it looks like we got him. I have to go get some gloves on though. He's stuck in there. All right, so my mic actually disconnected when I went and got the gloves, but we got that little bastard. Now the reason I just didn't rip him out of there is I didn't want the trap to just pull out and then him get stuck in there, and I didn't know if I actually killed him or not. So I wanted to make sure if he was on there that I was pulling him out and getting him out of there and see that he was actually there. Yes, you do need to tear up your yard a little bit to use these traps, but you can see how successful you can be with them. Sometimes these things will run through and set them off and you won't get them. Like I said, it's only about a 20% kill rate, but I've had the best success with these traps. They actually work really well when you set them up right. So if you have moles, in my opinion, this is the way to go. All right, now when it comes to these ants that I've been dealing with, we put down that Nyban product and that did absolutely nothing. All of these ants are still thriving. So I actually went to a plan B. I had another comment and someone mentioned that Dawn dish soap in water being poured on the ants will actually kill them. So I Googled it and that's actually true, I guess. So there's YouTube videos of people doing this and apparently it kills ants. So I did two different methods. I syringed their hole with Dawn dish soap and water, and I also dumped Dawn dish soap and water on the hills, and these ants will not die. Help me, you guys. What can I do to get rid of these dang ants? They're little tiny, like little red ants in Minnesota. I don't know what kind of ants they are. I thought just any typical ant killer would kill them, but apparently not. I'm going to put down some Anderson's Duo Side next. That's going to be my next experiment. But in the meantime, let me know in the comments, what have you guys used that absolutely eradicates ants? Now, don't give me something that's just gonna kill the ants that are walking around on top of the lawn. I want to kill the whole damn nest because these things are everywhere and they're just gonna keep repopulating if I don't kill them all the way down inside their homes. So let me know in the comments, how do we kill these ants? All right, that's all I have for you guys on this episode. I'm definitely gonna try getting some overseeds in before the end of the year still. So watch out for that. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you next time.